Before the printing press, before the industrial pulping of trees, and long before the digital cloud, there was a substance so durable it could preserve the thoughts of a king for 1,000 years. It is not paper. It is not cloth. It is the skin of a living creature, transformed through a process of water, lime, and agonizing physical labor. Look closely at this surface. You are not looking at a product of a factory. You are looking at the biological memory of the medieval world. To create just one page, a master artisan must battle against decay, stench, and the very fibers of nature. This is the art of the Parchment Maker. This is how we saved history, one skin at a time, before the machine. It is the middle of the 14th century in the rolling hills of England. In this era, information is the most expensive commodity on the planet. A single Bible requires the hides of over 100 sheep. To be a parchment maker, or a pergamentarius, is to hold a position of immense responsibility. Without your hands, the laws of the land would vanish, the prayers of the faithful would be forgotten, the accounts of the exchequer would rot. Today we follow Thomas, a master of his craft, as he receives a delivery of 3 raw sheepskins. He has 7 days to turn these bloody, wool-covered remains into translucent, ivory sheets of gold. If you value the preservation of ancient crafts and the raw history of human ingenuity, please consider subscribing to Before the Machine. Your support allows us to keep these forgotten flames alive. The process begins not with a pen, but with a stench that can be smelled from 3 villages away. Thomas takes the 3 raw skins. They are heavy, wet, and covered in thick, dirty wool. The first task is to stop the natural process of decomposition. If he fails here, the skin will putrefy and become useless. He carries the heavy hides to a massive wooden vat, filled with a caustic solution of water and slaked lime. This lime is created by burning limestone in a kiln until it becomes chemically aggressive. Thomas lowers the skins into the milky white liquid. He must use a long wooden pole to stir them, for the lime would eat the very flesh from his own fingers if he touched it directly. The skins must soak here for several days. This is not a passive wait. The lime is performing a microscopic miracle. It is swelling the hair follicles and dissolving the fats and proteins that hold the wool to the skin. Thomas watches the surface of the vat with a keen eye. He is looking for the exact moment when the chemistry of the Middle Ages has done its work. After 3 days of soaking, the skins are hauled out of the pit. They are now slippery, swollen, and ghostly white. Thomas drapes a single skin over a curved wooden block known as a beam. He takes up his first specialized tool, the unhairing knife. This is a long, curved blade with 2 handles, but crucially, it is blunt. He does not want to cut the skin. He wants to push. With a rhythmic, agonizingly heavy motion, Thomas scrapes the knife down the length of the sheepskin. Under the pressure, the wool and the outer layer of skin, the epidermis, simply slide away in a gray, gelatinous sludge. The physical toll on his shoulders is immense. Each stroke must be precise. If he leaves even a small patch of hair, the final parchment will have a dark, ugly blemish that no scribe can write upon. The smell of wet wool and caustic lime fills the small shed, a scent that Thomas has carried in his clothes for 20 years. Once the wool is gone, the skins are not yet ready. They are still saturated with lime, which makes them stiff and brittle. They must be washed. Thomas takes the hides to a nearby stream. The cold running water of the English countryside is essential. He rinses them repeatedly, stomping on them with his bare feet in the shallow water to force the chemicals out of the pores. After the washing, the skins go into a second vat, this time filled with fresh water and sometimes a mild acidic ferment made from fermented flour or beer. This neutralizes the remaining lime and brings the skin back to a soft, flaccid state. At this stage, the skin feels like wet silk. It is beautiful, but it is also incredibly fragile. One wrong move now and the entire week of work will be torn asunder. Now we reach the most critical and visually stunning stage of the manufacture. Thomas carries the wet, dripping skins to a series of heavy wooden frames called Herses. This is where the magic of parchment truly happens. Parchment is not tanned like leather. Leather is a chemical change. Parchment is a physical reorganization of fibers. Thomas begins by making small incisions around the edge of the skin. He inserts small, smooth pebbles into the edge of the skin and ties a cord around them, creating a dolly. These cords are then attached to wooden pegs on the frame. As Thomas turns the pegs, the skin is pulled tight in every direction. As the skin stretches, something incredible happens to the collagen fibers. Instead of being a tangled mess, the fibers begin to align themselves in parallel rows, flat against each other. This is what gives parchment its incredible strength and its unique ability to hold ink without it bleeding into the grain. Thomas continues to tighten the pegs, listening to the singing of the frame. The skin becomes as tight as a drumhead. If he over-tightens, the skin will pop and tear like a gunshot, ruining the sheet. The tension in this room is as high as the tension on that frame. If you are enjoying this deep dive into the physical labor of the past, hit the like button. It helps our documentary reach more seekers of history. While the skin is under immense tension on the frame, Thomas reaches for his most iconic tool, the Lunellum, or the lunar knife. It is a circular, crescent-shaped blade with a handle in the center. Because it has no corners, it is less likely to pierce the stretched skin. Thomas begins to shave. He scrapes the surface of the wet, tight skin, removing every last microscopic scrap of flesh or fat. The sound is like a rhythmic rasping, a shh that echoes in the quiet workshop. He must be careful. As the skin dries, it becomes thinner and more translucent. He can see the light of the tallow candle through the skin now. This is the moment of greatest danger. A tiny nick in the surface will expand under the tension into a massive hole. Thomas works with the precision of a surgeon, his face covered in a fine mist of water and skin scrapings. The skins stay on the frames for another 2 days. As the water evaporates, the skin wants to shrink, but the frame refuses to let it. This battle between the drying fibers and the wooden pegs creates the permanent flatness of the page. Every few hours, Thomas must walk the line of frames, giving each peg a small turn to maintain the tension. He also applies a fine dust of calcium carbonate or crushed chalk. This serves 2 purposes. First, it absorbs any remaining oils that might repel the scribe's ink. Second, it whitens the skin, turning the yellowish animal hide into a brilliant ivory surface. He rubs the chalk in with a piece of pumice stone, sanding the surface until it is as smooth as a modern sheet of glass, yet with the warmth of an organic material. On the 7th day, the atmosphere in the workshop changes. The skins are now bone dry. They are no longer hides, they are parchment. Thomas takes a sharp, straight knife. He carefully cuts the cords. As the tension is released, the parchment makes a sharp, metallic snap. He lays the sheets out on a flat wooden table. From 3 sheep, he has produced 6 large sheets of high-quality parchment. They are stiff, yet flexible. They are smooth, yet have a slight tooth that will grab the quill. He trims the irregular edges, saving the scraps to be boiled down into glue later. Nothing is wasted in the 14th century. Thomas holds one sheet up to the morning sun. You can still see the faint traces of where the animal's veins once ran, a ghostly map of a life given to preserve knowledge. This single page may go to a monastery in Northumbria, where a monk will spend a month illuminating it with gold leaf and lapis lazuli. It may hold a royal decree that changes the border of a nation. Today we use digital screens that flicker and die. We use paper that yellows and crumbles in a century. But the work of Thomas, created with lime, water, and the lunar knife, stands the test of time. If you go to a museum today and see a manuscript from 700 years ago, you are seeing the result of this exact 7-day journey. The machine can make 1,000,000 pages in an hour, but it can never match the soul of the parchment maker's hand. Thank you for traveling back to the 14th century with us. Which ancient craft should we rediscover next? Let us know in the comments below, and do not forget to subscribe to stay connected to our ancestors. Until next time, stay curious.